Today we're in Colorado Springs, where we will be meeting with Dr. Abram McBride, who is in private practice at Colorado Springs Urological Associates. We're going to dive into the emotional effects of erectile dysfunction and the disabling impact that this disease process can have on all aspects of our patients' lives. We'll also meet one of Dr. McBride's patients who developed erectile dysfunction as a result of his treatment for prostate cancer.
If you just ask guys on the street, hey, how does erectile dysfunction affect you emotionally? I bet you 9 out of 10 will look at you like, what? Most people fixate on the physical erection and the sexual function that follows. But if you look at that male's behavior and how they approach life, how they approach their career, how they approach their day.
My name is Pete Parker. I live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I am retired. I spent 26 years in the military. I'm in the gym every day. I coach high school football. I'm one of those stupid guys that if you're gonna do something, why not be the best at it? I found out I had prostate cancer and I had to do radiation. And when radiation hit, it just wiped me out. When it came time to have sex, I didn't get hard enough. I'm ready, my body's ready, mentally I'm ready. She's ready, and I couldn't penetrate. Everybody was so quick to push medicine or shot, and it's a trial and error thing, and you fail more than you win. And you fail in front of your wife. And that's pain. Then it started messing with me mentally because now I'm not a man.
Men will compensate for their erectile dysfunction. Men will find ways to cover up or excuse their erectile dysfunction that in doing so then leads to walling off how they are with their partner in their relationship.
I actually stopped holding hands with her when we walked. I stopped hugging her because I knew, the guy that she married, that guy was no longer. I was mad at the world, being mad at the world. Why is it happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Cancer was bad enough. Why didn't you just kill me with the cancer?
Unfortunately, so many of the men that I see have been dealing with this for years. Because for years, they get a prescription for something and then they follow up 6 months or a year later. And then they get a prescription for something else and they follow up 6 months or a year later. As opposed to just at the beginning saying, hey, here's all the things that we can offer. Let's do some tests and figure out what the best solution is for you.
Not realizing that it changed me, but it took so much away from me.
So when I first met Pete, I approached it from the perspective like I would with anyone who has tried and failed an oral therapy. And we talked about looking into the male hormone levels and making sure those are normal. And he had already had lab work that showed on 2 sets of labs, he had normal testosterone levels, normal endocrine function. And I said, well, Pete, you got some options here. We can combine some oral therapies together and see if they're more effective in a combination, or you have some medication that can be injected into the penis every time you want to have an erection, or you can have an implant.
I was like, so I've been going through all this turmoil for what? It took me years to find this answer. That's what needs to be put out there. You don't have to go through it.
At that point, I really just thought it would, help him be functional and he would be happy. 6 weeks or so after the procedure, see him and he is just elated.
It changes your life. It put us back in our dating stage again because now I'm Pete. Even my son, he's like, you're kind of like my dad again. And that was a moment I knew I did the right thing. I had changed and I didn't know it. It gives you that manliness back. That's happiness.
I've seen so many patients cross that canyon, that gap, where now they walk a little differently. They talk a little differently. They interact with their partner differently, and that's what I see on the other end of treating erectile dysfunction is restoring that for these men, what that unlocks for them and all the other aspects of their day-to-day life. That's what I think most people don't quite realize is the emotional aspect of erectile dysfunction.
There were several takeaways from my interviews with Dr. McBride and his patient Pete. Dr. McBride repeatedly circled back on the customization of erectile dysfunction therapy and how each patient should be approached holistically. We learned from Pete that his erectile dysfunction had tremendous effects on his self-confidence, his self-image, his self-worth. And I really hope that this video series can create a message that touches not only physicians out there watching, but also all the patients out there who feel like they're unheard and feel like they're misunderstood and that perhaps they haven't had the appropriate counseling and education on erectile dysfunction that they've been seeking.